Hi guys, Tim here. This is the first part of the sour ale video that I'm going to be doing. Basically the idea behind this sour ale that I'm doing is I've heard a lot about sour ales recently, and I have a book called the New Complete Joy of Home Brewing, and they have a section in the back of that book that gives you it basically tells you how to make your own sour ale, but the instructions that they give use malt extract. So I got to thinking, and I said, I'm getting into all grain now. I said, I could do an all grain version of this. So basically, what I'm doing is what was said in the book, only there's one step further, is to mash some grains to create your sour culture. So what I'm doing is I have a pound of melanoidin malt, and what I'm going to do is I have a plastic gallon jug over here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring half a gallon of water up to about 155, 160, around there, and I'm going to mash half of that pound of grains in there. I'm going to let it cool down, and then I'm going to add it to this plastic jug here. And they said basically to start a sour culture, you need to add some crushed grains to like a malt mixture. So that's basically what I'm going to do. After it cools down, I'm going to add the other half of the grains to it in this gallon jug, and then I'm going to cover it, the top of it, with aluminum foil, and I'm going to put it in the oven. Of course, I'm going to leave my oven off, but that'll just give a warm environment so the sour culture can move along well. So that's what I'm doing. That's the first part of it, and I'll show you what it looks like once I get it all put together. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, as you can see, I got the temperature at 158, and it seems to be steady. So I put my half of my grain in here, and I mixed it up to mash, and I'm gonna let that sit for like maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. Now just keep an eye on the temperature, and then once that's done, I'll just let it cool down and be ready to go. Alright, I'm back. This is what it looks like after the initial mash was done. I put it in this. I put it in the plastic jug, and I let it cool down. If you can see towards the bottom, the grains are still in there. So what I'm going to do now is I got the other half of the 1 pound of melanoidin malt, and I'm just gonna pour that in. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with a spoon, mix it in so it's all covered in liquid, and I'll cover this whole thing with I'll cover the top of it with aluminum foil, and then I'm gonna I found out my oven is too small to fit this, So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep it out, but I'm gonna put a dark colored shirt over it to keep the light out, because anybody that knows anything about beer knows that light is not good for beer. So I'm gonna get this all covered up, and then I'll be back with the brewing part. This is your sour starter. This is what's gonna make the beer sour. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, this is the sour mash now. What I did was I had let it sour for a week, and it was at the point where I wanted it to be. So, but I didn't have time to do the brewing when it was done. So what I did was I just put it in this big Glad container and I froze it temporarily. But now it's all thawed out that you freeze it and it stops the fermentation and everything. So in a minute I'm going to start doing the brewing. Alright guys, I got the brew kettle here, and I got the sour mash in there, and I'm using my digital thermometer to keep an eye on the temperature. I want to bring it up to like between 160 and 165, because I got the new ones, the Bible puzzles. When I put the grains in, it's going to lower the temperature. So what I did was I put the sour mash in here. It equaled a half a gallon of liquid, and then I poured the water that was left over from that gallon. I put in there, so that was it equals a gallon, and I added 2 gallons of water to it. So I'll have 3 gallons. I have 3 gallons of liquid total in here, because what I want to do is I want to make this 3-gallon batch, and I figured out that during my boil I'll lose a gallon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to at the end of the boil I'm going to add another gallon of spring water, and that'll bring it up to 3 gallons total. So I'll see you in a bit. These are the grains I'm going to be using for the mash. Here I have 5 pounds of 2-row pale malt, and then here I have a pound of Vienna malt. So that'll be going into the mash soon. Alright guys, I got all of my grains in there. Now I'm just stirring it up, making sure there's no dough balls in there or anything, and I'm gonna get ready to close it up and let it mash for an hour. Hi guys, the hour mash is almost up, and it's at 153. When I originally added the grains, it was like somewhere between 156 and 158, so it only lost a few degrees, which is not bad. It maintained pretty well. I also wanted to tell you about the sour mash that I did originally. I forgot to mention that basically what you're looking for in the sour mash is a spontaneous fermentation. I noticed like a couple of days into it, it just started bubbling like it would if you were fermenting a beer. Like they call it a spontaneous fermentation. It happens from wild yeast and lactic bacteria that's in the air. And basically what I did was I added it to the mash, and I'm gonna boil it with the rest of the wort, because just in case there was any bad stuff in there. The boil will kill it. Basically all you're looking for is the sour flavor, and so that's how I did it. So I'm getting ready in a few minutes. I'm gonna pull the grains out of the wort and start my boil, and I'll show you what kind of hops I'm using and yeast and everything, so I'll be back with that. Alright guys, hot break is over. It's boiling pretty good now, so doing my first hop addition. 1 ounce of Czech Saaz. There we go. I'll let this, I'm gonna do an hour hot boil, and when 10 minutes is up, I'm gonna add my aroma hops. So you'll see that in a little bit. Alright guys, there's 10 minutes left of the boil, so I'm adding 1 ounce of German Hallertau hops for my aroma. There we go. Then after 10 minutes I'm going to cool it down and get it into the fermenters and add my yeast, and I'll show you what kind of yeast I'm using. Hi guys, I almost forgot to show you one important step I'm doing for this. I'm adding, I got 4 ounces of light toasted oat chips, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, bring it to a boil, just to kill off any like bacteria or anything that may be in there, and then I'm just going to add it right to my fermenter. Hi guys, what I did was I had is a 3-gallon batch that I was making, and I had a 2-gallon fermenter and a 4-liter fermenter, so I split it up. I got some of it here, pretty much a gallon of it in the 4-liter fermenter, and then over here I got the 2-gallon fermenter, same one that I used for the IPA that I made. Originally, when I came up with the idea for this beer, I was thinking about using the American yeast that I use for the IPA, but then I thought about it, and this beer has a lot of Belgian elements to it. It's not specifically Belgian, but the idea of it came from my love of Belgian beers, so I'm using a Belgian yeast, the Safe Brew T58. So hoping I think that ought to be a nice touch for it. So that's the yeast I'm using. The stuff still has to cool down a few degrees, so I'm gonna wait till it cools down to what I feel is like the perfect temperature, and then I'm just gonna pitch my yeast. I'll put like 3/4 of it well, it's gonna have to be like 2/3 of it. The package I'll put in the 2-gallon fermenter, and then the rest I'll put in the 4-liter fermenter. So that's it. That's the American ale yeast, and hopefully I have an idea for another batch to be doing soon. I just got to get the rest of the stuff for it. So that's it, and I will see you guys soon. Bye bye. Hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me, but you want to know a good way to cool off your wort if you live in New England? Stick it in the snow. I got it here in a plastic bucket, and I got that plastic bucket inside of a plastic trash bag. Got it all sealed up so it won't get any bacteria or anything. A little trick for you. Alright, see you soon.